Hello, all of you.
Look what Yolandi's got.
Oh, isn't that sweet? Where did you get him from?
My dad has chickens. We keep them for the eggs. And sometimes we eat a chicken on an important occasion. But I don't like to eat our chickens because I know all their names.
But at least they've got a good life living with your family. Are they allowed to scratch around in the yard?
Oh, yes. We just put them away in the hen house at night so they're safe from the jackals.
What? Chickens live in a house? What's going on? I don't even live in a house. I live in a tree. Why don't chickens live in a tree like me? Hey, and anyway, why don't chickens fly away? They've got wings. This is very strange about chicken houses. I wonder who pays the rent. What?
Not all chickens are as lucky as yours. Some of them live their whole lives in very small cages.
What? They never get out?
No, they stay in their cages and their eggs are taken from them as they lay them. You can fit a lot of cages into one barn.
Where are these places?
Well, they're called battery farms, and there are thousands of them around South Africa because it's the cheapest way to keep chickens. Let's have a look. Here we are, a battery farm. My, what a lot of chickens. One big happy family living together. Hello, Mrs. Hen. Mind if we interrupt your lunch? No, don't mind us. Carry on eating. Two, 3 hens sharing a cage. Rather cramped quarters, don't you think? Please, no gossiping, ladies. They haven't finished lunch and supper is already served. No wonder they lay such a lot of eggs. But that is what they're here for, producing eggs as fast as they can. So that is how the eggs get into the egg boxes that Mom buys at the shops. Hey, where are you off to? Free ranging.
You know the farm we're going to go and visit soon?
Yes?
Do they have chickens living in cages? Batteries?
No, this farm farms free-range chickens.
What does free range mean?
It means the chickens are allowed to wander around. They're not in cages.
The cages we saw in the film, how big are they?
Well, 6 chickens usually have 700 millimeters by 600 millimeters to stand on.
How big is that?
Let's have a look. Now, who's got a long ruler?
I have.
Okay, Tabo, now you take this marker to use on the board. Now see if you can draw the bottom of the cage. It's 700 millimeters by 600 millimeters.
What do you mean by?
Well, the cage is 700 millimeters long and 600 millimeters wide. So we say 700 by 600, or it's written like this. 700 millimeters times 600 millimeters. How are we getting along, Tabo?
Well, the width of the cage is 600 millimeters. That's twice the size of the school ruler, which is 300 millimeters.
Good. Now, Yolandi, can you do the length for us? But remember, it's 700 millimeters.
millimeters, just 2 and a bit times the ruler.
Good. Now let's draw the other 2 lines to make the base of the cage. Okay. 'Now how much is the width?
600 millimeters.
Good. Now can anyone tell me what shape this is?
It's a rectangle.
Yes, it is.
That looks quite big. I'm sure a chicken would be happy to live on a floor that big.
I'm sure it would. But not one chicken lives in this space. There are 6 chickens that are living in this space.
So how much does each chicken get?
Let's work it out. Now this big rectangle is divided into smaller areas. How big are the little squares? Well, it's 100 millimeters by 100 millimeters. So, here we've got some spare papers that we use to do the menu board. Now, Olivia, take out your scissors and draw some squares of 100 millimeters by 100 millimeters. We're going to use them just now. That's right.
Is that right?
Mevin,
Yellow mother.
I think we should move.
What do you mean move? I went for a walk half an hour ago.
Well, I mean we should move house, go and live somewhere else.
Ha! Why?
Because this place is too small.
Too small? How do you work that out?
Well, there's only room here for you and me, right?
So?
What would you do if, say, Heiner came to visit?
Well, there wouldn't be enough room for him.
Exactly. That's why I think we should move.
But mother, how often do we have hyenas come visit? Eh? How often do we have hyenas coming to visit? They've never come into our house.
Well,
Ah! What have you done?
well, you see, the hyena said he wanted to see where I lived, so I invited him over.
You invited a hyena to come in here?
Well, yes.
Even if I stood on your head, there wouldn't be enough space for him to come in here. There's just enough room for you and me.
So that means there wouldn't be enough space for his brother either.
For his? Of course not.
And his cousin and his cousin's children and...
You invited them all. You are impossible. I'm going to find a new home. Just big enough for me.
Good! Now there's plenty of space for me.
Good. Now let's work out how much space there is for each chicken. Now, how many little squares across the length?
7.
And for the width?
6.
So how many squares are there in total? Actually, Yolandi, there is a quicker way. Can anyone tell me?
You could times 7 by 6.
That's right. And how much does that make?
42.
Yes. Yolandi, do you agree with us?
Yes, 42.
That's right. So 42 squares. And if there are 6 chickens, how many little squares does each chicken get?
42 squares and 6 chickens. You could divide 42 by 6.
And how much do you make?
42 divided by 6 is 7.
Is that all? There are only 7 of those squares for each chicken.
I'm afraid so. So that's why your little chicken over here is very lucky not to be a battery hen.
Rectangles are longer than they are wider. Squares are just squares. Circles aren't actually either. They are just round and there. To find the size of the base, you divide the base in squares. Add the squares up to, and hey! Now you know how big the base will be. Now you know how big the base will be. Up to, and hey! Now you know how big the base will be. Now you know how big the base will be.
What? Oh, now I understand. Chickens sometimes live in cages, and the safari kids have worked out how big those cages are. Well, how small those cages are. Hey, they divided the rectangle into squares and counted the squares to see how much room each chicken had. What? So the chickens don't live in houses, but I'll bet they wish they did. Yeah.
So you see how easy it is to work out the area of a base. You take the length and the width and you divide it into squares. Then you multiply the number of length squares by the number of width squares, and then you have the area. Bye for now.
Rectangles are longer than they are wider. Squares are just squares. Circles aren't actually either. They are just round and there. To find the size of the base, you divide the base in squares. Add the squares up to, and hey! Now you know how big the base will be. Now you know how big the base will be. Up to, and hey! Now you know how big the base will be. Now you know how big the base